Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Assalamualaikum. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
Morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
There are still 6 students who do not admit this Zoom. It is a bad habit, not a good habit. Yes. Especially if you are teachers or lecturers, it is not good to be late in every meeting. If you do that, you are not a good one. Yes. Okay, before we start our discussion, before we start our meeting today, I wish you Eid Mubarak. Maaf lahir batin.
Sama-sama.
Yes,
Sir.
thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Maaf lahir batin, sir.
Lahir batin juga.
Kuenya sudah habis ya. Kuenya sudah habis ya.
Masih ada, sir.
Masih
Ada dikit lah,
Kirim
sir.
kemari.
Masih
kirim
ada,
kemari.
sir, di rumah, sir.
Kongguan.
Oke. Kongguan, di sini rengginang.
No, it's not a fake deal.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last meeting for us in this mid-semester because next week you are going to join to face what is called midterm test. I want you to remember and to know exactly that the materials for your midterm test will be all the materials we have discussed before, from the first meeting, yes, the material for, from the first meeting until today's meeting. So I would like you to read your papers, your book, Nation and McAllister's book, Brown's book, and Richard's books, So remember, don't quote your answer from other resources. Your answer should be based on the papers I have given you before, yes, the materials I gave you before, and then the materials we have discussed in every meeting. If you take your answer out of these resources, you are wrong. You are wrong. Yes. If you take your answer from other lecturers, because your lecturer is Mr. Gustaman Saragi, and you take your answer from other lectures, you are wrong. So remember, your answers should be based on my words, yes, my teaching, my lecture, my papers, and the books I've given you, Nation and McAllister's book, Brown's book, and Richard's books. That's the rule of every examination. That's the rule of every test. Do you get it?
Yes,
Do you get it?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So remember, you are at Unindra, follow the rules of Unindra. Yeah. You are Indonesian, follow the rules of Indonesia. I'm Indonesian. I never follow American rules in my life. In teaching, maybe the source of my teaching, maybe from Brown's or San Francisco's lectures, yes, American lecture. Yes, this one, Hong Kong's Asian lecturer, University of Hong Kong. Yes, I can cope from any other materials from the world. But because I'm Indonesian, I follow rule. Unindra's lectures, I follow Unindra's rule. And remember, ladies, Unindra's rule, your presence should be 80%. It means that you must come to the meeting at least 9 times in one semester. If you are absent 4 times, it means that you break the rule. You have no right to follow the examination. If you follow the examination, but you have no score, because the rule of Unindra, your presence should be 80% minimum. Okay. These are the rules of how to follow the examination and how to follow the meetings at Unindra. I'm now teaching at Unindra. I follow Unindra's rule. I'm not teaching at Atmajaya. I'm not teaching at UNG today. Yes. So I hope that you know this well. You are students. Follow the rule of a student because you are not a lecturer. Maybe outside you are a lecturer, but now you are a student. Follow the rule of the students. That's fair. That means justice. Yeah, justice. I'm now your lecturer. Follow me. Yeah, on my subject. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, why do I say this? Because today we are going to talk about ideology of curriculum. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, are you Indonesian?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Or
sir.
are you Japanese? Or are you Chinese? Or are you Indian? Are you Arabics?
I am Indonesian.
I'm not.
Yes, if you say that you are Indonesian, I have a simple questions. What is the ideology of Indonesia?
Pancasila.
Pancasila.
Pancasila, sir.
Pancasila.
Okay, good. Yeah, you know that. So we must obey Pancasila because we are Indonesian. You must love Pancasila. If you say, I don't love Pancasila, but I'm in Indonesia, you are wrong. What is the motto of our country?
Bhinneka Tunggal Ika.
Yes, unity in
In
diversity.
diversity.
Yes, we are different, but we are one nation. Yeah. I love Indonesia. I don't love Malaysia as a nation. I love Indonesia. Of course, as a brotherhood in the world, I love Malaysian people. Yes. Because they are also created by God. That is called fundamental foundation. That is called ideology. So if you say that you are Indonesian, ladies and gentlemen, remember that we have our ideology of our nation that is called Pancasila. If you hate Pancasila, please go to another country. Yes. So you must be Pancasilaist. We are Indonesians. We love Indonesia. If you love Indonesian, do you love Chinese? Do you love Sumatran people? Do you love Javanese people? Do you love Madurans people? Do you love Celebes people? Yes. Do you love Papuans? Yes, because we are Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. That is our foundation. That is our motto. That is our ideology. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as a teacher, we should obey the ideology of curriculum. The ideology of curriculum of Indonesia is Pancasila. If you are teaching in Indonesia, you should make your teaching process by using Pancasila. Don't discriminate. I don't discriminate you because of your tribes, because of your ethnics, because of your religion. No. I treat you equally as students. That is the ideology of curriculum. We are going to talk about the ideology of curriculum proposed by Mr. Richards. Today we are going to listen to, beside me of course, to listen to group 4 or 5.
4.
4 or 5. Group 4, time is yours. Novi and friends, please give me the name of the absent students in 10 minutes. Okay. Come on, time is yours. Group 4.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, Mr. Kustaman and friends. We are from
No,
Group 4.
you are wrong. Iniwati, you are wrong. I don't teach you. I didn't teach you like that. Your greetings should be right. Saya tidak punya teman-teman dosen di sini, cuman sendiri kok. I would like you to have your greeting exactly the same as I taught you before.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Kustaman Saragi and
No. Saya tidak mengajar begitu kan, Bu? Kalau saya dosennya, ikuti yang saya ajarkan. Barusan saya ngomong tadi itu pakai bahasa Inggris. Come on, can you repeat it again in a correct one? Kalau enggak grup lain, ya silakan bantu dia, bantu Bu Diniawati, mana tahu dia lupa karena terlalu banyak makan kue lebaran kali.
Miss Furi, can you help me?
Good morning, Mr. Gustaman. Good morning.
No, you are wrong. Saya tidak mengajar itu, Bu. Ibu juga kuenya kebanyakan kali. Jadi sampai lupa. Any members of the group who can help?
Good
Or
morning,
other
sir.
members?
Good morning,
morning.
sir. Good
Yeah,
morning,
Faraz,
ladies
you
and
can
gentlemen.
start. Nevelina or Faraz?
Miss
Good
Faras.
morning,
Paras,
sir.
Miss Paras.
Faraz, yes. Come on, Mrs. Faraz.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. No.
Good morning, sir.
Good
morning.
ladies.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
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 Today,
Morning.
yes, today we are from group 4 are going to present about chapter 5, the planning goals and learning outcomes. Group 4 consists of 4 persons that are Miss Dinianwati Alia, and then Miss Istiana Furi, Mr. Zaini Abdillah, and me, Miss Faras Mentari.
I am.
And I am Miss Faras Mentari.
Okay, I will continue, Miss Faras.
Okay, thank you, Miss
Thank you.
Dini.
Our chapter 5 today is planning goal and learning outcomes. And the contents will be the ideology of curriculum, stating curriculum outcomes, and non-languages outcome and process objectives. So before our group start the presentation, there are questions related to the curriculum goals. Number 1 is there any value in teaching students a foreign language at school if they have no practical need for it? Number 2, should learners participate in the shaping of curriculum, or is it something best left to teachers? Number 3, should students study the literature and culture of speaker of the language they are learning, or just learn to speak and use the language as the tool? The first ideology and of curriculum will be presented by Miss Faras. Miss Faras, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Miss Dini. Okay, I am going to explain about the ideology of the curriculum. There are 5 ideologies of the curriculum. Those are: first, academic rationalism; number 2, social and economic efficiency; third, learner-centeredness; number 4, social reconstructionism; and number 5, cultural pluralism. Cultural pluralism. Thank you, sir. Each of the 5 curriculum perspectives examined here emphasizes a different approach to the role of language in the curriculum. Now I'm trying to explain more about each these 5 ideologies of the curriculum. First, academic rationalism. Academic rationalism is sometimes used to justify the inclusion of certain foreign languages in school curricula, where they are taught not as tools for communication, but as an aspect of social studies. In some parts of the world, example Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, under colonial rule, the English curriculum was traditionally a literature-based one. The basic educational aim was the assimilation of British culture through the medium of English literature.
Literature.
Okay, the development for the elite of generalizable intellectual capacities and critical faculties. And other reason is the maintenance of stance through an inspectorate and external examination boards controlled by the universities. The second ideology is social and economic efficiency. Ernst means approach. Urmecher in 1993 said, this education philosophy emphasizes the practical needs of learners and society and the role of educational program in producing learners who are economically productive. People can improve themselves and their environment through a process of rational planning. Social, economic, and other needs of society can be identified and planned for by task analysis, by forming objectives for each task, and by teaching skills as discrete units. It is an ends-means approach. A socio-economic ideology, English as a global language or business tool. Socio-economic ideology stresses the economic needs of society as a justification for the teaching of English. Successful economists in the 21st century are increasingly knowledge-based, and the bulk of the world's knowledge is in the English language. In a recent debate over standards of English in Japan, poor standards of English were cited as one reason for Japan's economic malaise in the late 1990s. The learning English, now a global language, is essential for Japan to have a bright future. The linguistic handicap of the Japanese could hold them back in an increasingly internet-oriented world, where the bulk of information is written in English. Keane said in 1999. Now I'm going to explain about the third ideology, that is learner-centeredness. Pinar in 1975 explained that what is missing from American schools is a deep respect of personal purpose, lived experience, the life of the imagination, and those forms of understanding that resist dissection and measurement. And then Mars in 1986 points out that the issue of child-centered or learner-centered curricula reappears every decade or so and can revert to any of the following. That are individuals teaching, learner through practical operation, creative self-expressions by students, learner strategies, and learner self-direction and autonomy. The ideology number 4 is social reconstructionism. Concern for equal opportunities. Fryer in 1972 said, this curriculum perspective emphasizes the role schools and learners can and should play in addressing social injustices and inequality. Curriculum development is not seen as a natural process. Schools likewise don't prerequisite opportunities for all, but reflect the general inequalities in society. Auerbach in 1992 said, in language teaching, work is an important application of critical pedagogy, stressing that teaching must seek to empower students and help them bring about change in their life. And then number 5 is cultural pluralism. Intercultural communication. Banks in 1988 argued that students in multicultural societies such as the United States need to develop cross-cultural competency, or what is sometimes termed intercultural communication. Urmecher in 1993 said, cultural pluralism seeks to redress racism, to raise the self-esteem of minority groups, and to help children appreciate the viewpoints of other cultures and religions. ACTFL in USA. Philip and Terry in 1988 said, in the United States, the American Council of the Teaching of Foreign Languages, ACTFL, has recently identified 3 dimensions to intercultural competence in foreign language programs. The need to learn about culture, to compare them, and the third to engage in intercultural explorations. Okay, that was the ideology about curriculum, and the next will presented by stating the curriculum will presented by Mr. Zaini. Thank you. Mr. Zaini, time is yours.
Thank you very much, Ms. Farad. Now I would like to continue the discussion, the presentation about the studying curriculum outcomes. Okay. Now, in the studying curriculum outcomes, there are some points that very important that described by Richard. There is the first aim, and the second the first is about aim, and here general purpose. Aim is general purposes of curriculum. Okay, in this term, we can see the examples from this book that describe students will learn how to write effective business letter for use in the hotel and restaurant industry. Students will learn about business letter writing in English. So it's a goal, yeah. M same as a goal. It's a wider goal of the program. And then students will learn how to communicate information and ideas creatively and effectively through writing. In here, there is the statement, students will practice composition skills in English. Now, we'll continue to the objective. Objective is a more specific and concrete description of purposes. You can see at the page 120 until 126. It also can be called a smaller unit of learning or a basis of organization of teaching activities, observable behavior or performance, advantage of setting up objectives. Now, advantage of setting up objectives is facilitate planning, measurable outcomes, and accountability, and also from the perspective. Now, for developing language objectives, we can consider the nature of subject matter that attainable outcomes for levels, logical and well-structured units of organization. Because when we state the objective, we have to know we have to predict what we can reach. So the objective must be reachable. For example, the difference between the aim and objective. This is the example of the aim. Students will learn how to understand lectures given in English. And the objective, students will be able to follow an argument, theme, or thesis of a lecture. So aim is broader than or wider than objective, and objective is smaller. This is the examples that described in the PowerPoint. You can see also the students will learn how to recognize the following aspects of a lecture: cause and effect relationship, comparison and contrast students, premises used in the persuasive argument, supporting details used in persuasive argument. Now we continue to the characteristic of objective. When we set an objective, we have to consider this characteristic. The first is the objective must describe a learning outcome, and we have to avoid the word will study or will learn about or will prepare, because it's not described by the goals or the ending of the learning process, the outcomes of learning process. Because when we state the objective, we have to make the clear outcome that's reachable. The second, the objective should be consistent with the curriculum aims, relevance to aims. As the aim here, it's like a benchmark when we make an objective. So the objective must refer to the aim, and the objective will be a wrong one if it go out from the aim circle like that, or out of the topic, out of the aim. The third, the objective should be precise, not vague and ambiguous. So the objective must be clear to reach, clear to attain. And the fourth, the objective should be feasible, attainable within the time, especially. When we talk about the example, especially, this is the example. Here, the following objective is probably not attainable in 60-hour English course. Like, students will be able to follow conversations spoken by native speakers. In 80 hours course, when we train students to be able to speak with the native in the fluently way, it's impossible. So we have to specify the objective. So we can form objectives like this. Students will be able to get the gist of short conversations in simple English on topics related to daily life and leisure. It's more attainable. Now we continue to the next slide. Criticism of the use of objectives. Number one, objective. Here, turn teaching into there are some criticism, especially from the linguist, about the using of objectives in the teaching learning process. The first is objectives can turn teaching into a technology. Behavioral objectives for efficiency, need for meeting both language and non-language outcomes. Because it's like a program in it's what I'm sorry. Maybe it makes learning to what is that? I'm sorry, sir, terlalu sempit maknanya gitu. Terlalu sempit. Narrower the meaning of the learning process. And the second, the criticism is about the objectives can trivialize teaching and product oriented. Because when we use objective, you also describe only important process and experience as well as observable outcomes. We only focus on the outcome. And the third, the using of objectives are unsuited to many aspects of language use. May describe mastery of skills, but not for critical thinking, literary appreciation, or negotiation of meaning. And the objective more focused on experiences in the curriculum, which enhance critical thinking rather than specific learning outcome. Now we continue to the competency-based program outcome. Here, the competency-based language teaching, or CBLT, focus more the ends of learning rather than means, content of or process of teaching or learning. And also this CBLT more emphasize on accountability, measurable outcomes, and performance standards. According to next, performance-based instruction, mastery learning, individualized instruction, students' abilities to apply basic and other skills to situation in everyday life based on the analysis of tests required of students. Now we continue to the nature of competencies. Competencies refer to observable behaviors that are necessary for the successful completion of real-world activities. Here we can conclude that observable behaviors for successful completion of real-world activities, and also the King in 1994 states that units of competency in which subordinate elements specified specific knowledge, thinking process, attitude, and perceptual and physical skills for job performance, independence of context and time. It's a nature of competencies. And also, Stephenson said that competency-based teaching objectives developed in 1860s and development of program in 1960s by Spencer. It's called by Spencer and Bobbitt. And also, Northup also reports that 5 knowledge areas and 4 basic skill areas along with 55 competencies. Morowicki in 1986 described the process of developing a competency-based curriculum for a refugee program decided to develop language skill for employment. The process included reviewing existing curricula, resources, materials, and textbooks, need analysis, identifying topics for a survival curriculum, identifying competencies for each of the topics, and grouping competencies into instructional units. It is some linguists that using competencies. So it describes the nature of competencies. Now, there are some critics in using of competencies or competencies oriented. There are Stephenson argues that no valid procedures are available to develop competency specification. Although lists of competencies can be generated intuitively for many areas and activities, there is no way of knowing which ones are essential. And the second, hidden value underlying competency specification based on social and economic efficiency model, value judgment, passivization of already underprivileged people. You can see at the page 131 until 132. And using of competencies as the objective in the learning process is more fit for ESP programs, not the and other programs in English teaching, because in the ESP program we focus on the skill and the competency that wanted and desired by the student. And the last part of the second phase is the standard movement. The most recent realization of a competency perspective in the United States is seen in the standard movement, which has dominated educational discussion since the 90s, as Glaser and Lin note here. In the recounting of our nation's drive towards educational reform, the last decade of this century will undoubtedly be recognized as the time when a concrete path for national educational standards emerged. Here, standards movement are begin in America, and standards are the description of the target students should be able to reach in different domains of curriculum content. Here, so the standards benchmark movement in 90s, raising national education standards for subject matter across the curriculum. It is born in America. And then sectoral standards for K-12 to provide unrestricted access to grade appropriate instruction in challenging academic subjects. And the last, common European framework or of reference for languages are emerged by this. Thank you very much. And now I give the chance and opportunities to present to Ms. Puri. Time is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Zaini. Non-language outcomes and process objectives. A language curriculum typically includes other kinds of outcomes apart from language-related objectives of the kind described above. If the curriculum seeks to reflect values related to learner-centeredness, social reconstructionism, or cultural pluralism, outcomes related to these values will also need to be included. Because such outcomes go beyond the content of a linguistically oriented syllabus, they are sometimes referred to as non-language outcomes. Those that describe learning experience rather than the learning outcomes are also known as process objectives. According to Jackson, there are 8 broad categories of non-language outcomes in a group of teachers of adult immigrants in Australia. They are social, psychological, and emotional support in the new living environment, confidence, motivation, cultural understanding, knowledge of the Australian community context, learning about learning, clarification of goals, access and entry into employment, further study, and community life. Those are above relate to the personal, social, cultural, and political needs and rights of learners. Jackson gives the examples of objectives in on-arrival programs for immigrants that relate to understanding the context of local service in the situation. The examples are: first, to assist the student to identify major local providers of services for the unemployed, and employment, and the education and training. Second is to assist students to identify the main function of the above. Third is to situate main function of above services in context of educational provisions as a first step in the process of ongoing adult education. Fourth, to assist students to identify major services, including private or public, for migrants, children, women, and sport recreation. Next, to provide task-oriented activities, including community visits, to familiarize students with above services. Next, to assist students to ascertain relevance of above services for themselves in terms of eligibility and accessibility. Another category of outcomes is sometimes referred to as process objective. In general education, these are associated with ideas of Brunner and Stenhouse. Brunner argued that curriculum should be more focused on the knowledge and skills learners need to develop. It is including the concept and procedures that children should acquire through processes of inquiry and deliberation. Meanwhile, Stenhouse argued that the curriculum should focus on activities that engage learners in such processes as investigation, decision-making, reflection, discussion, interpretation, making choices, cooperation with others, and so on. Another category outcomes is sometimes referred to as process objective. Thus, Hanley, Whitla, Moss, and Walter identified the aims of course, which is titled Man, a course of study, as 7 points here. First, to initiate and develop in youngsters a process question of posing. Second, to teach a research methodology where children can look for information. Third, to help youngsters develop the ability to use a variety of first-hand sources as evidence from which to develop hypotheses and draw conclusion. Fourth, to conduct classroom and discussion in which youngsters learn to listen to others as well as to express their own view. Fifth, to legitimate the search, that is to give sanction and support an open-ended discussion where definitive answers to many questions are not found. Six, to encourage children to reflect on their own experiences. And the last is to create a new role for the teacher who become a resource rather than an authority. With this approach, it is suggested that detailed specification of objectives is not needed. The curriculum specifies instead the content students will study and the activities and processes they are expected to engage in while studying the content. Stenhouse explained, the curriculum is not designed on a pre-specification of behavioral objective. Of course, there are changes in students as a result of the course, but many of the most valued are not to be anticipated in detail. The power and the possibilities of the curriculum cannot be contained within objectives because it is founded on the idea that knowledge must be speculative and thus indeterminate as to student outcomes if it is to be worthwhile. There are 3 learning strategies. Theory suggests that effective learning involves developing an integrated set of procedures and operations that can be applied to different learning. The second is selecting strategies appropriate to different tasks. And the last is monitoring strategies for their effectiveness and replacing or revising them if it is necessary. Many different kinds of learning strategies may be relevant to particular groups of learners. The course should develop students' awareness of the learning process and their role as learners by developing the following knowledge and skills. First, ways of organizing learning and dividing learning tasks into smaller subtasks. Second, familiarity with how to use reference word designed to assist them in independent learning. For example, using dictionaries, reference grammars, and study guide. The third is awareness of their own learning styles and strengths and weaknesses. Fourth is familiarity with various techniques that are particularly useful to themselves. Number 5, awareness of the nature of learning strategies and the difference between effective and ineffective strategies. Next is ability to monitor their own learning process and ways of setting personal goals for language improvements. According to Jackson, on his book, which was published in 1993, gives example of objectives designed to help develop different types of learning strategies. The following relate to developing strategies for effective organization and management of time. First is to explicitly introduce students to the concept of time allocation in relation to study. 2 is to assist students to identify realistic time and time spans for home study and individual study in the learning center. 3 is to assist students to prioritize study time allocation in relation to other everyday activities and family commitments. 4 is to assist students to create a daily or weekly timetable for study. The English language syllabus for teaching of English at primary level in Singapore, which is published in 1991, includes a number of categories of process objective as follows. Thinking skills, it is focused to thinking skill. At the end of course, pupils should be able to explore an idea, situation, or suggested solution for a specific purpose. Second, think creatively to generate new ideas, to find new meanings, and tend to deal with relationship. Third, analyze or evaluate an idea, a situation, or a suggested solution for a specific purpose. Learning how to learn, at the end of the course, pupils should be able to apply a repertoire of library, information, and study skills. Then, take some responsibility for their own learning and use some of the basic skills relating to the information technology. In language and culture, at the end of the course, pupils should be able to appreciate that there are varieties of English reflecting different cultures and use this knowledge appropriately and sensitively in communication. Second, adopt a critical but not negative attitude towards ideas, thoughts, and values reflected in spoken and written texts of local and foreign origin. The The American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages in its National Standards for Foreign Language Learning, which is published in 1996, identifies a number of objectives for language program that relate to the philosophy of cultural pluralism. For example, here, students demonstrate understanding of the concept of culture through comparisons of the cultures divided and their own. Second, students acquire information and recognize the distinctive viewpoints that are only available through the foreign language and its culture. On behavioral objective, majors describe three components for the description of behavioral objective. First is performance. An objective says that what a learner is expected to be able to do. In condition, an objective describes the important condition, if any, under which the performance is to occur. And the last criterion, wherever possible, an objective describe the criterion of acceptable performance, describing how well the learner must be able to perform in order to be considered acceptable. Okay, for this part will be presented by this Dini. Time is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Furi. Maybe friends, you can see from the slide, the PPT that we send you. I just want to wrap up the our today's presentation about planning goals and learning outcomes, that as a teacher, before we go to the class and meet the students, we need to plan our teaching to have to know the aims of everything that we are going to give to the students. And then we also have to know the cultural background of them, because not everything that we plan will be suitable to the other kind of students. I think the presentation of our group today will be better to be discussed more under Mr. Saragi assistancy, and then hoping that even there are questions from the other participant, we can answer the questions. And if you don't have, and if you have anything that is not very understood, Mr. Saragi is going to help our group. I think that's it. Thank you very much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to remind you about your pronunciation. Yeah? Our pronunciation, especially in front of our students, should be correct. Yes, grammatically correct and culturally correct. Yes, I want you to follow me, to repeat after me. Yes, repeat after me. Ideology, come on.
Ideology.
Ideology, yes. Okay.
Ideology.
Curriculum.
Curriculum.
Not curriculum. Curriculum. Culum. Technology. Not teteh.
Technology.
It is Sundanese. Yeah. Technology. Rationalism. Learner-centeredness. Student-centered. Reconstructionism. Culture. Yes, pluralism. So for those who are doubtful about your pronunciation, how to pronounce a certain word, I would like you to look up your dictionary. Yes, so open up your cell phone, how to pronounce something. Because most of you are teachers or lecturers. If you pronounce something in a wrong way, it is bad. Yes, it is bad. It is not good. Yeah, because your students will follow you. Yeah, so they follow the wrong one. Yeah, so I would like you to, pronounce it many times. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, even though I have taught 50 years already, I've been teaching for 50 years, but I still read my dictionary. Sorry, because the more we read, the more we lose. Yeah, the older you are, the more you lose. That's why every night I'm still reading my dictionary. Yes. That's my suggestion to you. Don't think that everything can be done well. No. Yeah, the more you get, the more you lose. Yeah, because our brain is limited. Yeah, our brain is limited. The older we are, the most things, something we lose, we forget. Yeah, so we need to refresh our brain. Your pronunciation must be correct. Yes, grammatically correct and culturally correct, because you are teachers, you are the leaders of your students. Yeah, if you do wrong in your teaching process, your students will do wrong also. Now that's why, sorry, I correct you. Every time I correct you. Yeah. Maybe, no, or not all the lectures do the same. Yeah, I'm sorry for interrupting you every time. Yeah, because, your pronunciation, sometimes it is not, it's not good actually. Yeah. Yesterday, some of the students say staden. Sekelas S2 masih bilang staden. I'm very sorry to hear that. I'm very regret. Yes. So I want you, ladies and gentlemen, please, yes. Even though we are teachers, already teachers, I've been teaching 50 years. 50 years, most of my age. Yes, but still reading my dictionary. Sorry. Maybe you are smarter than me. I don't know. I hope that. But yeah, my suggestion is please, yeah, refresh your pronunciations. Okay. Before question and answer from the participants, I would like you to answer my questions. Yes. In Indonesia today, all the schools implement what is called the 2013 curriculum. Of course, right now, some activator schools, yes, implement project, yeah, project-based curriculum that will be called the 2024 curriculum, the new curriculum proposed by Mr. Nadiem Makarim. But it is still trial and error, where when the trial is successful, maybe it will be implemented in 2024. But we are still implemented. Yeah, we are still implement what is called the 2013 curriculum. My question is, ladies and gentlemen, what is the goal of the 2013 curriculum? Because you have implemented it. Do you still remember?
Build
Yes,
the character,
Erita,
the student
Erlita?
character.
Yes,
To build the student
Alex,
character.
Holistic learning, sir.
Yes,
Holistic learning.
characteristic learning.
Holistic learning that affects the character building.
It is
To
just a part.
build the student characters.
pelajar Pancasila.
Focus on character.
That is the philosophy of the curriculum. That is the ideology of the curriculum,
Oh,
Pancasila.
yes, I see. Sir.
Do you still remember our
To
second
make the
meeting?
student talk.
Miss, remember, I would like you to read our second meeting. Yes, second meeting materials again. So the goal, what is goal? Goal is the terminal. Yeah, the general purpose. General purpose of doing something. That is the goal. It is general. What is objective? Objective is specific. Yes. So one goal consists of many objectives. Yes. I would like you to read again the materials for the first and the second meeting about the 2013 curriculum. I just want to remind you. Okay. So there are some experts, ladies and gentlemen, that use the term of goal or aim. Mr. Richards, Jack Richards, used not the goal, but aim. Yeah. Stand for general purpose of teaching. But some experts use goal. So goal and aims are nearly the same, but not exactly the same. It depends upon the experts. So one goal consists of many objectives or outcomes. Yeah. So goal, aim, purpose, objective is, what is it? They are something to achieve. So the noun is called achievement. What should the students achieve in learning process? That is called goal or outcomes or objectives. In 2013 curriculum, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to know exactly what is written in the curriculum about goals. What is written in 2013 curriculum goals?
Basic competence and
Yes, come on.
basic competence.
Core competence.
Core competence and basic competence.
Yes, Jenny Abdullah is right. Core competence and basic
Core competence.
competence. They are goals of 2013 curriculum. A good teacher, a teacher should elaborate core competence and basic competence into indicators and objectives. So one basic competence should be elaborated or should be broken down into many indicators or objectives. That is about the 2013 curriculum. And in 2024, in Activator School, in the project curriculum today, it is the teacher, it is the task of a teacher to create all the goals and objectives. I myself, ladies and gentlemen, give four aspects of a good objectives. The first is called, I call it condition. Call it condition. For instance, after one meeting, after learning this topic, after these lessons, after one semester, that is condition. What does it mean? It is the time that should be reached by the students. What should the students know at a certain time? That is condition. So after this class, that is the condition of today. And then I call the second aspect is subject. Subject is usually the students. In the process of learning, we have two subjects, the teacher and the students. But which is more important, the students or the teacher?
Students.
Ideology of the curriculum, which is more important, the students or the teacher?
Student.
Students.
The students. Mr. Richard say it is called learner-centeredness. Do you know that?
Yes.
Student center. The 2013 curriculum is student center. Because the student can learn without any teacher, but the teacher cannot teach without any students. Yes. Supaya Bapak Ibu tahu diri. I am called a lecturer because I have my students. If there is no students, I am not a lecturer. I'm nothing. You are called a student because you learn. Maka Bapak Ibu, mahasiswa yang tidak belajar bukan mahasiswa. Jangan sebut dirimu mahasiswa tapi nggak mau belajar. Wah, wrong. Mahasiswa. Maha. Jadi belajarnya besar. Jadi dikasih PR jangan menggerutu. Maha. Yes. Tahukah Anda ketika saya S2, tahu tugasnya berapa halaman satu minggu? 60 halaman, 70 halaman. Satu mata kuliah. Anda selama libur ini tidak belajar mungkin. Sorry. Are you a student? Yes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the students is the subject. And the third aspect, according to my opinion, is behavior. Behavior. What is behavior? What action your students will do? Yeah. What actions your students will perform after the learning process? What can they do? What can they achieve in the learning process, after learning process? That is behavior. And then the last one, the last aspect, according to me, I wrote it in my book. Yes, I wrote it in my book. According to me, a good objective should have what is called criteria. If the students can do something, how far? Yeah. What is the quality? Is it good or not? Is it successfully or effectively or not? So, for instance, let's say today I am able to write a good objectives in lesson plan or in syllabus like this. After learning process on May the 14th, the students are able to explain about the ideology of curriculum in Indonesia without any mistakes. So the quality, the criteria is without any mistakes. So after learning process on May the 14th, that is condition. When after learning, who subject? The students. What behavior? Yeah, what kind of behavior? The students are able to explain about the ideology of curriculum exactly or without mistakes or carefully. Yes, carefully without mistakes. That is called degree or criteria, the quality of the action. So I suggest you, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to write your objective on your lesson plan, on your syllabus from now on by fulfilling the 4 aspects. Some lecturers, some teachers write down like this. Setelah pelajaran ini, siswa mampu menjawab pertanyaan. Menjawab pertanyaan apa? Dan bagaimana? Dia bisa jawab tapi salah semua. Apakah itu tujuan pembelajaran? Bukan. Jadi seharusnya ditulis, setelah pembelajaran ini selesai, siswa mampu menjawab pertanyaan dengan tepat. Nah, harus. Asal mampu menjawab pertanyaan aja, ya bisa salah. Harus menjawab pertanyaan dengan benar. Siswa mampu mengarang tulisan recount text dengan sempurna, memenuhi syarat, nah, gitu. That is a good examples of objectives. Saya beberapa kali memberi training ke sekolah. Saya lihat, maaf ya, saya buat bahasa Indonesia. Saya lihat RPP mereka itu yang ditulis berdasarkan kompetensi dasar. Nggak ada yang memenuhi syarat. Pokoknya ya kepala sekolahnya juga kan nggak ngerti kali. Siswa mampu menjawab pertanyaan seperti tadi. Siswa mampu menjawab pertanyaan kalau salah. Bukan itu tujuan pembelajaran. Siswa mampu menulis. Menulis apa? Siswa mampu menulis descriptive text. Tapi salah semua. Itu bukan mampu. Jadi siswa mampu menulis descriptive text tentang Jakarta dengan benar. Dengan benarnya itu ada kriteria. So by reading Richard's books, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to revise your lesson plan. Yeah, from now on. So you know what the students should achieve. That is objectives. Yeah, achievement. What kind of achievements do the students can get? Yes. So talking about planning goals and learning outcomes or learning objectives means talking about what kind of achievement the students can get. Yes. It is very important for you. Yes. Administrative task of a teacher. Kalau saya mengatakan, maka saya sependapat dengan Nadiem Makarim. Anda menulis RPP berlembar-lembar, tapi nggak diajarkan di kelas. Buat apa? Nadiem Makarim cukup mengatakan, programnya RPP-nya cukup 3 lembar. Nadiem Makarim bos saya. Mertuanya teman saya berdiskusi. Ya. Bertahun-tahun. Jadi saya tahu persis. Mertuanya memang pintar juga. Ya. Jadi Bapak Ibu, apakah ada relevansi RPP Anda dengan jangan-jangan tes yang Anda berikan tidak sesuai dengan RPP? Ya kan? Ada yang banyak mengajar tidak sesuai dengan RPP. Jadi RPP itu hanya pertanggungjawaban supaya tanda tangani kepala sekolah. No. It is a real planning of teaching. So what you write in your lesson plan should be implementing in the classroom. Apakah silabus yang saya berikan kepada Bapak Ibu itu saya ajarkan atau bukan? Cek di Google Classroom. Benarkah silabus yang saya berikan? Silabus saya kan paling berapa lembar itu? Sesuai dengan ajarannya Nadiem Makarim, Menteri Pendidikan itu. Apakah itu saya ikuti atau tidak?
Iya, sesuai.
Ya.
Ya, Anda seharusnya begitu. Saya memberi contoh. Anda seharusnya begitu. Nanti bahan ujiannya minggu depan apakah dari apa yang diajarkan atau tidak?
Ya.
Pada waktu semester pertama, Bapak Ibu, apakah ada mendapat pertanyaan yang tidak diajarkan oleh dosen? Jujurlah.
Diajarkan, Pak. Ini diajarkan.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Semua?
Yes.
Ada yang
No
Semua?
No comment.
Untung saya bukan dekannya. Untung saya bukan dekannya. Kalau saya dekannya habis tuh. Ya. So ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to be consistent. Yes. To be responsible. What you write should be implemented in the classroom. That is a good teacher. Okay? Yeah, because there is still 5 minutes to go. Maybe you have one questions to be answered by the group or by me. Come on.
Sir. I am Lily Pujani. I would like to ask about the ideology of curriculum. According to group 3, group 3 explanation, there are 5 of ideology. Group 4. I'm sorry, group 4. I'm sorry, group 4. According to group 4 explanation, there are 5 ideology curriculum. In this occasion, I would like to, are they related each other? If yes, could you explain it more details, sir?
Okay, of course they are related to one another. Yes, they are related to one another. Then you must practice it. Why did I choose these? Because I have compared many books written in the world. So I choose this because this ideology of curriculum is suitable, is appropriate, is parallel to our curriculum. So for instance, what is the first one? Academic rationalism. Academic rationalism portrays in core competence and basic competence in 2013 curriculum. And what is social and economic efficiency, ladies and gentlemen? What is the most efficiency in business of life? Education, learning process. Learning process. It is efficient. Jangan berikan hartamu kepada pada anak-anakmu, berikan ilmu. Dengan ilmu dia bisa dapat harta seberapapun. Okay, yeah, it will be longer, of course, but we have limited time. What is learner-centeredness? I asked you just now, which is more important, the students or the lecturer, the students or the teacher? The students. Yes, that is learner-centeredness. And then social reconstructionism. What is your job? To change your students to be better. If you are a teacher, you want to change Indonesia to be better, not to be worse. The new Indonesian. It is related to our curriculum. What is cultural pluralism? We have discussed our ideology, our philosophy of Indonesia is Pancasila, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. Yes, that is cultural pluralism. Don't say that, oh, I'm Muslim, I hate Christian, I hate Hindus. You are wrong. You are not Indonesian. I'm Japanese, I hate Sumatran, I hate Papuans, I hate Balinese. You are wrong. It is contrary to cultural pluralism because we are Indonesia. Okay, so this ideology, what is ideology? Philosophy. This philosophy of curriculum is interconnected one another, and it is portrayed in our curriculum. Yes. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, time is up because you can go to another class maybe, and I am also. Thank you very much for coming and have a happy midterm test next week.
Okay, sir.
Prepare yourself.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Best luck.
Thank you so much.
Sir.
Mister.